Hi guys, welcome back to another video about Qatar Airways that I'm making. If you would like to see another video like this, please like this video and subscribe down below. Put your notifications on so you can see all of my videos about Qatar Airways and whatever else I make videos about. And please comment down below what sorts of videos you guys want to see me make, and I would love to make them for you. Also, follow me on Instagram, message me on Instagram, and I will message you back on there. I also promised to reply to every single comment on this video, so comment down below and I will reply to your comment. So if you have questions, just comment down below. So, what is this video about? By the title, you already probably know this is going to be about Qatar Airways accommodation, and specifically the accommodation I stayed in. So basically, when I got to Doha, I was picked up with with a whole group of girls, and we were taken to our accommodation. There were 3 buildings next to each other, and our whole batch kind of lived in those 3 buildings, so that was quite nice. I didn't live with one of my batchmates. I moved in with someone who was already working for Qatar Airways, and my roommate was an English girl, and she and I stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment. There were 2 bathrooms, one for each of us, and also a dining room with a lounge area in one, and there was a separate kitchen that had a stove, an oven, a washing machine, and things like a kettle and all of that. When I got to Doha as well, I got a little welcome package that included pots and pans and bedding and towels, all sorts of things like that, like crockery, cutlery, everything that you need. And it also contained like crackers and little snacks and water and things like that, just to kind of get you started. So I personally, on the day I got there, also, I got an email. I'm sorry, I should put that notification sound off. I forget. But anyway, I hope I don't get any more emails during this video. So, yes. What was I saying? I can't remember. I completely lost my train of thought here. Yes, so the day that I got there and I saw the welcome package and all of those things, because I wasn't aware that I was going to be there, I went to Carrefour after I got the package, and I bought some things to add that would make it more personal to me. Like I bought a few like trinkets or whatever, and some new bedding. I didn't use the bedding they got me. I used my own bedding, and yeah, it was a very nice welcome. It was nice not to have to buy everything, because you get a welcome bonus, but I didn't have any other money except the welcome bonus they gave me. Literally, I did not have 1 cent to my name, so that was quite nice that I didn't have to buy a lot of stuff. I could literally survive buying food with the clothes I had and also the toiletries I had. And yeah, once so the accommodation that I stayed in had a gym on the bottom level, and a block away from me there was another building that I could get access to that had a swimming pool, and there was also a dry cleaner in a building right next to my building, which I used to go and hand in my uniform that would get dry cleaned for free for me. So I could do my own washing in my apartment, hang it up, let it dry, and I got my dry cleaning of my uniform done for free. So yeah, I mean, the accommodations were quite nice. I know my friends lived in other accommodation. Sometimes you had to share a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 other girls, and you'd share 1 bathroom. But most of the time, a lot of the girls had a bathroom each, or 2 girls would share 1 bathroom, and the most people that lived together would be 3 people. But yeah, you guys I remember being away different times than my flatmate, so it was kind of like I lived there basically by myself, and it was nice when she was there. And in the middle, I made a request to move in with one of my friends, and I lived with one of my friends for a year as well, and that was a huge apartment. Like, I've never lived in such a big apartment when I was at university in South Africa or in Hong Kong. It was ginormous. It's probably like 3 times the size of my current apartment in Hong Kong. too much space there, like wasted space. But anyway, and yeah, so I also got a single bed. Everybody got a single bed. I don't think they gave you double beds. I'm not quite sure. I didn't know anyone that owned a double bed. It was like a 3/4 bed situation, really. And we also all had little like vanities with a mirror and things like that. So that was quite nice. Yeah. Your transportation would be organized to go to work. So a little bus would pick you up and you'd have a pickup time in the lobby that you needed to go and check for when the bus was going to pick you up. And if you wanted to go out by yourself to a hotel, to go to a swimming pool, or to a mall, or whatever, you had to get a taxi or have a friend pick you up. The taxi company you just call and you would book a taxi. Some girls had like a driver that they knew that they would use recurringly because it was sometimes easier to get someone like that. And what else? Yeah, so the accommodation I lived in both times was about 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes away from a mall or the clubs or the city center or so on. So it is quite a way away. But some girls did rent cars or lease cars or things like that, and that made life a little more easy in terms of getting from A to B, because public transportation isn't really a thing in Doha. Yeah, and so I would say it was a nice apartment to live in. I really enjoyed living there. There were definitely rules that came along with, living in company accommodation. One of those rules was that you weren't allowed to have candles or you aren't allowed to have alcohol, because in Doha your employer or your visa sponsor has to sponsor a alcohol buying license for you, because there's only one place you could buy alcohol in the country. So then cabin crew weren't allowed to have licenses like that, so you can't buy your own alcohol. So you either have to drink at a club or a bar if you want to drink, or you have to drink at a friend's place who has a license like that. So you can't really go buy a bottle of wine and take it to your accommodation and drink the bottle of wine. That's what it was like when I was there, though I don't know if laws or rules or whatever have changed at all. Yeah, so other than that, another rule was that you had to be home by 3:30 a.m. So most of the clubs close at like 3, and you are allowed to leave at 7 a.m. again. So it's basically 3.5 hours that you're not allowed to leave your accommodation. You have to be there if you're in the country. But, okay, honestly, obviously it sucks that you have to go back, but my friend and I once partied till 3:30 in the morning, and we got back, and then like 3.5 hours we literally went out again and went to the beach and whatever, kept on partying at a hotel or whatever at 7 a.m. in the morning. So it really wasn't a big deal at all. For me personally. And you're also not allowed to sleep out of the accommodation unless you have the permission of the company. And basically the only thing I think that they would actually give you permission for, if you ask, is say if your parents were in the country and they were in a hotel and you asked for permission to stay there, because you can't have anyone stay in your accommodation that's of the other sex, not even if it's your family, because the other girl who lives with you, there's someone of the opposite sex that lives there, and it's not her family. I think that's how it worked, but I'm not 100% sure, so, because I never had my family come and stay there or try and come and stay there, so that's just what I think is the rule. But if it's the same gender, the person is fine to come and stay with you. Girls and guys stayed in different accommodation. Men were only allowed to visit, I think, between maybe 7 a.m. and 11 or 10 in the evening. Otherwise, you had to go out somewhere to see them. Or, they weren't allowed to sleep over in your accommodation, because obviously it's Sharia law and you're not married. So you can't sleep in the same place if you're not man and wife. I think that's what I think the rule is. Or why guys weren't allowed to stay in our accommodation. So yeah, another thing that was a rule was that, you know, you needed to swipe in, swipe out, and if you were late, like if you did get home after 3:30, or that would be immediate grounds for dismissal. And they have CCTV cameras, so they will find out if you're like between the hours of 3:30 and 7. But I did know girls who kind of like said if you're gonna be late, like after 3:30, not to go back home, to kind of sleep over somewhere else, because they don't really religiously check like if you're, you know, if when you're there and when you're not there as religiously as they check if someone's come in between 3:30 and 7. So you could kind of get away with like sleeping out more than you would if you came back between the hours of 3:30 and 7. At least that's what the word on the street was. I never actually tried because, like I said, I didn't have a boyfriend, so I didn't have somewhere to go sleep over. I don't want to sleep over at anyone's house. And yeah, so it was kind of like, okay, cool, I don't care. Like, and also when you're on a layover in a different country, like no one checks up on you, so you do whatever you want when you're out of the country. And you were in Doha not that much, really. Obviously you were there a lot because it was your home base, but not that much that it mattered that much. To me, anyway. I'm sure to other people it matters, especially if you're in a relationship and you want to sleep over at your boyfriend's house. But honestly, a lot of girls did sleep over at their boyfriend's house and they were never caught. Or some girls did sleep over at their boyfriend's house like a bunch of times, and then they were caught, and then they were fired. So it wasn't like they found out you do it once by accident and then you're definitely fired. Like, I don't think it was like that. At least that's what I think. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I never took the chance to break those specific rules. I broke other rules, which, if you want me to make a video about that, I will. Please leave a comment down below. And yeah, so another thing that was a little bit weird is you had housing officers who were part of the housing department come and check like the cleanliness of your apartment. If you had anything that you weren't supposed to have, like candles or alcohol or cigarettes or whatever. And also, like, to make sure it's safe with the candles, don't burn the place down, or, you know, with the alcohol, that you don't have those things. And they would give you a little score about cleanliness and all sorts of things like that, and they would report to your performance officer, like, what the condition was of your apartment, I guess. Yeah, so those were all the rules. You also had a security guard in every building, and if you brought a visitor, they had to sign in, and yeah. That is all that I can think of to tell you right now. Once again, guys, thank you if you made it all the way to the end. If you did make it all the way to the end, please comment down below. I love ice cream. And I love you guys, and talk to you soon. Tell me what videos to make for you, and I'll make them.